Hello, everybody. Welcome to This Day. It is Wednesday, May 5th, and of course, Cinco de Mayo. And we'll give you a little background on that in just a bit. We don't have any meetings today to tell you about, but on our show, we have Providence Mission Hospital with Sandra Brown. Now, she is the director of genetics over there, and we're going to talk to her about some advancements that they're making, as well as an introduction to the Leonard Cancer Institute over there. Then we also have the Fit Brain Club with Dan Daly and Sunshine, and they're here to tell us about all the great things that are going on with a Fit Brain Club. Okay, let's go ahead and give you our vaccination information that we normally do. Of course, you can go to athena.com and register for any of the points of distribution here in Orange County. Then you can go to the vaccinefinder.org, where you can find vaccines that are in stock, Vons, Albertsons, Pavilions, Rite Aid, or CVS. Now, our weather is looking quite nice after we burn off some heavy fog that we had here this morning. Looking pretty good so far. We are looking at a very nice warm day, about 82.57 today. Tomorrow we will start off with AM clouds again, 76.56. It's going to be fairly nice on Friday, 74.54. Then we go back to the fog again, 72.56, and then partly cloudy on Sunday, 73.61. Our sunrise this morning was at 5:59, and our sunset will be at 7:37. Now, Cinco de Mayo, of course, the date was observed to commemorate the Mexican Army's victory over the French Empire at the Battle of Puebla on May 5th. 1862. Now, I did check around on some specials for you. So at El Torito, they are having taco specials starting at 3 p.m. and the mariachis show up between 4 and 6. And then Redo out in Newport Beach is going to have sponsored drinks by Don Julio. So I would check your favorite local restaurant to see if they are going to have any fun specials for this evening. Have a happy Cinco de Mayo, and we'll be right back with Providence Mission Hospital. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Sandra Brown, who is here on behalf of Providence Mission Hospital. She is the regional manager of genetics. Well, Sandra, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And you know, genetics has really been on the forefront in diagnostics for a while now, you know, with the pandemic, and we have Dr. Fauci coming on, and they talk a little bit about, you know, diagnostics and genetics and how the vaccines work, and it's very exciting. But from your perspective, this is a whole different ballgame in what you're referring to, correct?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, learning about viral evolution is an important thing about just in our general communities becoming more fluent in genetics. And cancer is inherently a genetic disorder, a genetic disease, and understanding the genetics of cancer is an important basis in, you know, being on the leading edge of providing cancer treatment and therapies and prevention and understanding of risk.
Well, exactly. And there's been so many advances over the course of the last probably 10, 20 years. And as we'll discuss later in our conversation, you know, precision medicine is one of them. So very, very exciting stuff. So tell me a little bit about yourself. You're new to our community. Tell me a little bit about you.
I actually have been living in Dana Point and living in Orange County for about 12 years. I finished my master's degree in clinical genetics at UCI. So I've been here since then. And I love South County, and really enjoy, have friends that live in Laguna Woods. So just really enjoy where we are lucky to live.
Yes, and I couldn't agree with you more. I just actually moved towards Dana Point. I've been living east for some time, and it is a lovely area for sure. So getting back to cancer, and it's, you know, genetic versus maybe, you know, it's genetic, but also there are different cancer risks that are inherited. So genetically and inherited, is that kind of the same thing?
Not really, but yes. So there's a lot of terminology that people hear. You might hear terms like genetic, genomic, precision, targeted therapies. All of those have to do with a characterization or a molecular understanding of a patient's either risk of developing cancer or how their cancer, if they've developed a cancer, how that cancer might um, behave with a specific treatment, or maybe an identified targeted therapy would be best for that cancer. And so characterizing a cancer and characterizing risk is a part of providing genetic services.
Okay.
So when you think about inheritance, inheritance has to do with the germline. And germ cells are the cells that originated your being, started your development. When you have children, it's germ cells that you give to your children so that they develop their being. And so germ line means what you have inherited, what the cells that came together to create you, what they inherently contained. And then as they developed your whole body, each of the cells in your body contains that genetic material. If you have inherited risk, it goes through the germ line, so it is inherited. And the genetic change that might be increasing or changing your risk of developing specific cancers would be found in those cells. So when we look at the germline, we look at healthy cells because we want to know what are the healthy cells inherently containing that might increase your risk for cancer. And then we would know what type of cancer you might have risk for, and then how to best manage and prevent that type of cancer.
So how do you do testing on that, on the germ cells? Is that a blood test?
Yeah, so germ cells, or what I was saying is you just want healthy cells and healthy cells that contain DNA. So mostly we look for white blood cells. You can get white blood cells from your saliva. So a lot of times we just do spit collection because we're actually just isolating the white blood cells out of your saliva. You can also get white blood cells if you do a blood draw. So a blood draw is another way for us to obtain your inherited genetic material. Sometimes when we do a blood draw, we can do additional testing. We can look at the RNA as well. You don't have RNA in your saliva. So if we wanted to look more closely at your inherited genetic material, we could do a blood draw so that we can add an RNA analysis to that as well.
Is that generally something that you would do on a regular basis, or would somebody have to be predisposed to cancer, or maybe there was some sort of something might have been wrong with them and then you suspect it?
No, that's really the exciting part about, you said, the advances that we've had in the last 10, 20 years. Even the advances in the last year, or the advances in the last 3 to 5 years, have been amazing in the field of genetics. We are going to launch Genome for Me soon in Orange County by the end of this year. And that will be a population genomic study where anyone, independent of their family history, can do genomic testing, looking for inherited risk of cancer, cardiology, and some of the pharmacogenetic, which help us to understand what kind of drugs may be best metabolized or not metabolized by an individual. So that is something that is anybody can join in. Otherwise, when you look at the kinds of family history that you might have to indicate doing germline testing, typically insurance has criteria that need to be met. So you have to have some significance in your personal or family history, multiple people with the same type of cancer, cancers occurring at unusually young ages. For example, breast or colon or uterine cancer under the age of 50. There are other cancers that have a higher likelihood of being associated with inheritance. So all ovarian cancer, independent of age, all pancreatic cancer, independent of age, and all aggressive type of prostate cancer, including a what we call an aggressive or high risk prostate or a metastatic type of prostate cancer. All of those meet standard insurance criteria in, which allows a patient to have more access to genetic testing. But the other thing is that genetic testing has gotten so much cheaper because of the technological advances that even if you don't have coverage by your insurance, the out-of-pocket costs usually vary between about $100 and $250. So it's something that we can provide you with very high quality genetic testing at a reasonable price when you don't meet your insurance criteria.
Oh, really good news. That is great stuff. So once you have detected cancer through any of the means that you mentioned, then what? I mean, do you take a look at, obviously you take a look at what type of cancer, but even more than that, you look beyond what type?
Right. So sometimes when an individual is diagnosed with cancer, they've never analyzed their germline. So we don't know if they have specific inherited DNA changes that may be driving, or genetic changes that may be driving them to develop cancer. And that may also characterize the behavior of their cancer. So if somebody has a recent diagnosis, we still would offer them germline testing. And then depending on the stage of that cancer and what type of the cancer it is, they might also benefit from having the actual tumor sequenced. So when we look at sequencing a tumor, we're still analyzing the DNA, but we're not analyzing the healthy cells or the cells that you were born with. We're analyzing the damaged cells of the cancer, which will always have some kind of mutational profile. And we want to know if we can identify a mutational profile that gives us an idea of how to best treat a cancer. That gives us a lot of insight in how to best manage your care.
Yeah. Oh, that good stuff. And at some point in the future, I'd like to sit down again with you and let's really dive into some of that. And maybe you could show us some samples of what some of these results look like to us, because we don't usually get to see anything like that. So I think that would be really a great discussion. And just as we close, give me an idea of some of the new things that are coming down the road here at the Leonard Cancer Institute.
Well, as we learn about genetics and genomics, we're really staying on top of research, what kind of therapies or clinical trials may be available to a patient because of something that we've identified in their tumor that really hasn't met a standard of care yet. So we want to make sure that patients who have important characterization of their tumor, they also have access to these kinds of studies. So that's an important area of providing leading edge care that's precision oncology. We also are developing additional high risk management. So if a patient has never had cancer, or maybe they had cancer in the past or recently recovered from a cancer, but now we've identified that they have germline risk, meaning that they have some inherited risk. When you have inherited risk, you can have risk of developing a second or third cancer, or you've never had cancer, but now you know you have risk. So then how do we best manage that risk? So we're in the future, hopefully by the end of this year, we'll be providing high-risk clinics where we're managing patients who have high risk and providing something called liquid screening. So there's a way of doing a blood draw where the DNA of a cancer at a very early stage will be circulating in your bloodstream, and we can start to pick those up at earlier and earlier stages. So a liquid screening is going to be an important part of adding to your risk reduction, your prevention, and your management when you know that you have a high risk of developing cancer.
Anything to catch it early. That is awesome.
Yes.
Good stuff. Well, it was so nice to meet you, Sandra. Thank you so much for the information, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I'd be happy to come again.
And we'll be right back after this.
Oh, life, how we admire you, are deeply fascinated by you. All your twists and turns and wild rides you take us on. The ups and the downs. Life, you live inside all of us, breathing, growing, beating. You are the reason we'll always provide world-class healthcare. Providence, we see the life in you.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Dan Daly and Sunshine Lute, who are here on behalf of the Fit Brain Club. Well, thank you both for joining me today.
Well, thank you for the invitation. Very nice to be here.
It's so nice to be here and see you, Lisa.
Oh, well, you're welcome. And you guys are doing such great work out there. I'm glad you're still been active and you've made it work for everybody, even though people can't get together. But things are looking better. It looks like we might be able to get together hopefully here in June. So that, cross our fingers.
Oh, absolutely. Well, any news right now that's showing any kind of improvement is all good news.
Exactly. So Dan, we're going to start off with you, and you guys have a big Fit Brain meeting coming up. Tell me about it.
Yes, the guest speaker will be a very well-known speaker. He's been at our meetings a number of times. He's very familiar with all the residents within Laguna Woods Village, and that's Dr. Dung Trin. And very, very knowledgeable researcher on top of that. And but he's going to focus on basically an update on COVID. And starting off with, most likely he'll make reference to the national scene before Orange County. And on the national scene, 42% of the population has been fully vaccinated. However, in order to reach herd immunity, you have to achieve 70%.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a little ways to go yet. When you consider the fact that probably 23% of the general population, they don't believe in vaccines anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a little bit of a reach there. I can tell you, the residents of Laguna Woods Village, 50% were fully vaccinated 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So within that confine, you're going to reach herd immunity rather soon.
Yeah.
So it'll be sooner rather than later. In Orange County, that percentage now is 33%, and that's fully vaccinated. So when you consider the fact that you have 2 vaccinations or 2 vaccines to be fully vaccinated, there is a time element here that has to be considered.
Right.
On the improvement note, back in January, there were approximately 2,400 hospitalizations due to COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
Last month, it was down to 110.
Right.
So that's pretty dramatic improvements there. So people are really following the guidelines, and not only CDC, but also their primary care providers. On a positive note, those 16 years and older, now they are fully eligible to be vaccinated, which is a great sign. And probably the best bellwether of all is the fact that Disneyland reopened last Friday. So you can't get any better news than that, right?
Yes, everyone was very excited to see that. And I mean, it's just one more thing to make us see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think most also important is to take a look at the flattening of the curve. I mean, obviously you mentioned that earlier, Dan, and that's really one of the things that they've achieved. Now, getting to the villagers, I mean, the vaccinations were extraordinarily done here in the village, getting pretty much, I'd say over 9,000 people were vaccinated here in the village. And then the remainder of those that wanted to were given that opportunity here in the village. And it makes up such a huge amount of residents in the city of Laguna Woods as a whole.
Sure.
There was a percentage thrown out that we're at 74% of vaccinated people in the city of Laguna Woods. So that's an extraordinary number.
Wow. Well, you already heard immunity right then and there.
Yep. So thank goodness that everybody, like you said, heeded the advice of the CDC. We were able to get the vaccinations taken care of here in our city. And it's great. But you wish that the governor would say, oh, you know what? Hey, city of Laguna Woods, you can open up.
Well, unfortunately, there's still a lot of fear and confusion out there.
Yeah.
For an example, I think it was just last week, the CDC made the announcement on their website that fully vaccinated people can gather in small groups without using masks. So conversely, you see the President of the United States making an address in front of about 150 people. Everybody, including him, they're wearing a mask and you know they've all been vaccinated. So that's where the confusion lies. And a lot of it is basic common sense, you know, but unfortunately, when you get the media involved in anything at all, it's politicized, and then they break it down by groups, and that creates way too much fear, especially with senior citizens.
Yeah, and I'm sure there is some confusion as well, like you mentioned. You know, when you talk about the folks that you're helping, those with Alzheimer's, you know, that's an added risk for them, right, Sunshine?
Oh, sure.
It surely is.
Yeah. And so I guess the thing is that when you have those folks who are compromised like that, you know, fear is the last thing you want.
Right. So our meetings are always the second Monday of the month at 10 o'clock. And of course, right now they are all Zoom meetings. So if you don't have internet, you're just going to have to wait till the clubhouse is open again, and hopefully that will be soon. But if you do have internet, well, then we have a wonderful website called FitBrain, and it's all one word there, fitbrain.us. And if you go there, the very first screen you're going to see, the third line down is underlined. It says Club Meetings. And you click on that, and all of our meetings are out there. The latest is on top. And so there are two underlined things immediately. One is the flyer, and one is registration for the meeting. Now you have to register, because if you don't, how are we going to have the email to send you an invitation to the meeting?
Exactly.
So, there's many other things on this website, but probably the most important for the Fit Brain Club is the one I just told you about.
Okay, perfect.
You know, if I could interject at this time, we are going to make the registration form a lot more convenient and a lot easier to use, especially for those returning. So we're in the process of modifying it to make it a lot easier to use.
That's wonderful, because right now you have to fill out your name and your address and all that stuff, and then you come back for the next meeting and you got to do it all over again. So thank you, Dan.
Yeah, that's good. You know, trying to make these websites work sometimes is a process. So let's just reiterate the meeting, that the big meeting with Dr. Trin is going to be on May 10th, and it's a Zoom meeting. What time was it going to be at?
10 o'clock.
At 10 a.m. Okay, great. And then they can obviously register, and they'll get the link. Now, Dr. Trin, you said, is going to be talking mostly about COVID-19 and getting an update. Do you think, I mean, he always has such great ideas. Do you think he's going to have some additional things for everybody to use that will be useful?
Oh, I'm sure he will. I mean, he's a very creative guy, and he's very, very informative. The real advantage of having someone like Dr. Trin involved in something that can be very complicated like COVID-19, he really breaks it down to the layman's terms. So it's much more readily understood by the attendees. So I'm sure he'll have some ideas as to making life easier for everybody.
Yeah.
And he'll have a session, you know, he keeps saying, do you have any questions? I want to make sure you got this. And so there's opportunities for people to really communicate with him.
That's great. Yeah, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. He's very informative, always has great ideas and good information. He really gets it. You know, he's really in with a lot of different groups and organizations to get that information to the people. So excellent. I'm glad you guys are using him for your next FitBrain meeting. Great job.
Good. Well, we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to a good turnout.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is we usually record the meetings, and if I get the recording, I put it out there on the website. So even if they missed the meeting, they can watch it later.
Oh, that's good. That's great. All right, you two. Thank you so much.
All right, Lisa, thank you again for your hospitality and for inviting us on.
You got it. We'll talk to you again.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye, Sunshine.
Bye-bye.
And we'll be right back after this.
With 2020 behind us, now is the perfect time to take care of all the things that you might not have been able to. Caliber Collision is just up the street from you, and we offer a lifetime warranty on all body and repair work for as long as you own your vehicle. And we offer free pickup and delivery for all our Laguna Woods customers. On or off the road, safety is very important to us, which is why we are following all COVID-19 guidelines. Caliber Collision, restoring the rhythm of your life.
I wanted to give you a preview of the movies that are coming up here on Friday and Saturday. On Friday, we have Lion, stars Dev Patel, and it is about a 5-year-old, his name is Sorrow, and he gets lost on a train which takes him thousands of miles across India away from his home and family. Sorrow must learn to survive alone in Kolkata before ultimately being adopted by an Australian couple. Great flick. I really liked it a lot. And then on Saturday, in honor of Mother's Day on Sunday, we are actually going to show Mother's Day. And it has lots of stars in it with Julia Roberts and Jennifer Aniston, lots of different stars. So you'll enjoy that on Saturday. So we'll give you all the previews coming up in the next couple of days. All right, let's take a look at some information that we have locally for you. Of course, we always have great information, and we have our library is reopening today. Today, the library will reopen, and they will have Monday and Tuesday. They'll offer their scheduled checkouts as usual. Now, the library hours are going to be Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., and then Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now, you can always contact them at 949-206-0150. And you can now swim with friends in pools 4 and 6. So they're now opening, and you can bring a guest. So it doesn't have to be just residents. You actually can bring a guest. They don't want you to do any backward swimming, though. But if you want more information, you can go to 949-597-4382. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our weather. We did start off with some fog this morning, but it is going to be a nice temperature today, 82-57, mostly sunny today. And then tomorrow, we're going to have some clouds and then have some sunshine again, 76-56. Friday, 74-54, Saturday, 72-56, and Sunday, 73-61. And don't forget, it's Cinco de Mayo, so check around with your local favorite Mexican restaurant. I'm sure they'll have some fun specials for you to have. Enjoy this day, Cinco de Mayo. Have a great day in the village. We'll see you again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Otherwise, you can rewatch our program at 12:30 and 5, Monday through Saturday. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Welcome back. 7-8 Dental is making a difference. Doctor, please tell us about how you're helping parents and children. Mom.
We know preventive dentistry is the key. Starting now, all children 15 years and younger will receive a free dental exam. If work is needed on your children, we will use our resources to help find funding.
Thank you, doctor. Okay, parents, give your child the 7-8 Dental smile.